Hey everyone, welcome to this call. We are Bess McCarty of the MLM Millionaire Club and Jeffrey David Gamble of My Leadership Network, partnering to bring you this generic training, Quick Start Basics for Network Marketers, the 10 Core Commitments, every Sunday right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Our purpose, to help people grow, to educate, empower, and equip entrepreneurs and create independent servant leaders. We really want to help raise the bar in this profession. And that's what the 10 Core Commitments is, the best fast start for people who want to move fast and help their team to move fast. The 10 core is, I'll say them real quick for you here. Get started right, be here a year from now, professional development, market daily, present daily, attend a weekly presentation, attend a weekly core training, attend a monthly regional, attend all conventions, and create a monthly massive action plan. And these commitments, as you could probably tell as I read through them, include the 7 skills that Eric Worre teaches in his GoPro book, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional, which we've really drilled on in the MLM Millionaire Club, my school for network marketers, for many years. So grab a pen and paper. One idea tonight can be worth $1 million to you. Remove distractions, close other windows, apps, TV, close the door, settle kids and dogs. You can pay close attention to this. This is generic. This training is generic and compatible with your company. However, if there is something that your training from your company and your upline is giving you that's different from this, we recommend that you follow those leaders. Follow who is successful that you know. So this is not only generic, it is for all network marketers who are starting, already moving, or stuck. It works to get customers, recruits, and to train them. So this will help you to build a team, lay a good foundation, and make money. This is a training where you connect with people and interact and have fun and get entertained at the same time. We suggest that you keep attending until you can teach it. Every time I hear it, I know I just take mad notes and learn new things. So we want you to get this a deeper layer every time. So we're going to go over the basics and some mindset things that you should know. But we're going to go over the general basics first, and then we're going to launch into one of them, which today is number 4, Market Daily. I appreciate Jeff for sharing what he has distilled down from the companies he's been in, the top earners that he's had the privilege to work with, and his own personal experience. He's recruited over 500 people front line. So we're getting this distilled down, you guys, in the best, most efficient, economic way. His team has built teams of over 5,000 people, and his teams have produced over $10 million in sales. I also was a network marketer for years full-time, and it helped when my son was growing. It helped me to be home with him. But to do that and to do the mission, it was a nutrition company, and I just loved the mission. I really believed in it. But to do that, I had to overcome my shyness first. I was so shy as a kid that I hid out in my room when company would come over to visit. So how did I get from that to going door to door to being a trainer and speaker on stage and all that? I had to get over my fears. And that is what I help network marketers do with personal growth and as a body-mind therapist that I later became, so I can help identify where they get stuck and help them break through. So this, of course, will be on a replay very soon afterward. It'll come out as a YouTube replay with closed captions for people that have a better time with that. And it's to help you. We'll also have questions and answers when we're finished. So if a question comes up for you, just jot it down or type it in the chat if you're on the computer, and or just remember it, and you can ask that at the end. So Jeff, over to you.
Okay, guys. Well, what we want to do is, obviously, we don't want to do anything that conflicts with your current company. So anything that you hear anything that happens that's in direct conflict with your company, you want to go ahead and keep doing what you're doing and listening, obviously, to the person who's instructing you. What I want to do is maybe give you some options, some choices if you are struggling, if you don't, if maybe you can't grasp or connect the dots. That's what this is about, is connecting the dots. I sat through a lot of meetings. I sat through a lot of seminars. I sat in front of a lot of people, both good and bad, to be able to learn and get this information. But once I was able to get it, once it finally broke through, I was able to break through very quickly and build some significant teams. And I was able to build some significant volume because of those teams. So it's not just getting people in, it's making sure they're active and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and leadership and all that. So just kind of to start out with, I've got a really cool picture basically up on my screen. I have two computers next to each other. One is Mac that I'm basically doing the call from or the video from, and then the other one is PC. So I use both programs just to basically remain crazy and constant updates. But there's a picture that I pulled up, and it's of the Chinese bamboo trees. And if you don't know the story of the Chinese bamboo trees is really, really cool. It takes about 5 years for a Chinese bamboo tree to actually sprout and grow. The first year when planted, it takes year after year of basically watering and making sure it has all the proper soil and nutrients and blah, 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 blah. And at any point, it doesn't get everything it's supposed to get. The Chinese bamboo tree actually dies in the ground, which is really unfortunate. But what ends up happening is if you can break through, if you can get past that time frame. Whoa, my screen just shrunk. I have no idea what I just did. So just as a heads up, don't press a bunch of buttons when you're messing with this. So it breaks through, and once it breaks through, the Chinese bamboo tree in the 5th year will actually grow 90 feet in a period of 6 weeks. So 90 feet in a period of 6 weeks, it just takes off, which is kind of very cool, if nothing else. What you don't see happening, though, is in the first 5 years, while you're watering, while you're giving it its nutrients, while it's getting everything it needs, what it has to do to be able to grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, one of the things it has to do is you have to basically build a root system deep enough for that tree to grow that tall. And that's what you don't see happening. So a lot of times the business is very, very similar to this, where you'll be doing all the right things, but it's happening on the inside of you, and you have to get to a point where your belief system has grown enough, where your commitment has grown enough, where your consistency has grown enough, where your confidence has grown enough, and then all of a sudden it'll seem like to others that you go from 0 to success very quickly, but what people don't see is that 5 years of commitment. Now, it doesn't take everybody 5 years. So for those of you who are like, oh my gosh, I don't have 5 years to do this, it doesn't take everybody 5 years. Some people are even slower than that, like me. It took me 10. So I'm just saying, I wasn't the fastest, brightest student. But what I'm here to tell you is it can work for anybody. I've watched this work for so many people, and there's always going to be the naysayers. There's always going to be the people out there who say, oh, it's not going to work, or oh, it can't work, or oh, it shouldn't work, and they're going to give you every reason why and every statistic, and they're going to figure out all the reasons why it can't work. But what I can tell you is it does work. It works for a lot of people. It just takes time. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get this started and dive right into core number one. Core number one is getting started right. If you don't get started right, if you don't take off the right way, then it's very difficult to teach other people to take off the right way. So here's the good news, even if you've messed it up, you can always start over. That's kind of the beautiful thing inside of network marketing, direct sales, MLM, that you can't do in a normal business. Like in a normal business, if you go out and rent a location and you stock inventory and you do advertising campaigns and you do all of that, you can't be like, you know what, I just need to start over. Close this one down and we'll just start somewhere else. It's very difficult. It doesn't work as easy. But in direct sales or network marketing, you can start all over again. And what we're going to start with is this 8-step pattern. And very simply, the 8-step pattern is 8 things that you want to do consistently in rotation. Number 1 is defining your dream. Why do you want to define your dream? Bunch of reasons. But you want to find out the reason why you're doing something. The reason why you're doing this will actually fuel you to do the things, to do the work, while nobody can see it, to do the work of the Chinese bamboo tree, to build that root system, to build that belief system, to build those commitments. It's going to take a dream of some type. Now, some people's dream is different than other people's dream. What I like to focus on when it comes to dreams is just, the activity of what would you do with $1,000 a month? That thought process. What would you do with $1,000 a week? What would you do with $1,000 a day? Just being able to kind of write that out. And here's the thing, not only write it out, but one of the things that I've found that helps a lot is be realistic. Being realistic with what that money will do. Some people are like, man, if I had $1,000 a month, I'd retire right now. I'm like, how much are your bills? They're like $1,500. I'm like, I'm no financial CPA, public accountant, but if your bills are $1,500 and you say $1,000 is going to retire you, your first problem in network marketing is you don't understand math. And you better get math right, because when we start adding these teams and having to know how much volume, now you don't have to be a math genius. You don't have to know, trigonometry to understand this. You don't have to know advanced calculus. You don't have to be Einstein to figure this out. But you do have to understand basic math. And what I like about the dream part of it is this gauges, what this gauges for me is how realistic is somebody's expectation of what's going to happen. Because when I ask them, what would you do with $1,000 a month, and they tell me they're going to pay off all their debt, and I say, how much do you owe? And they're like, about $130,000. And I'm like, okay, at $130,000, $1,000 a month, that's like 113 months. That's a long time. How fast do you want to pay it off? Well, I think I'll pay it off in 6 months. Again, simple math problem. It allows me to understand and gauge them. $1,000 a week. Which is amazing. $1,000 a week is where life begins inside of direct sales from what I've seen. It allows you to really start paying things off. It allows you to really start taking a trip. It allows lifestyle to change. And here's one note. If you want to recruit a lot of people, one of the fastest ways to recruit a lot of people is when people watch your lifestyle change. When people know that you weren't a person that was able to do a lot of things, and all of a sudden you're able to do a lot of things. Now, this doesn't mean buy a bunch of stuff you don't need. This doesn't mean, go out to try to impress people. That's not what this is about. It's not about impressing. It's about just doing things that you said you wanted to do and now you're able to do. Before it was a little bit harder to show that, but now that Facebook is in front of so many people, pictures and videos are in front of so many people, it's very easy to show lifestyle. And say, hey, this is what's going on, but always be honest and truthful with what the lifestyle is. Like, I have a lot of friends that like to take pictures in front of, super nice cars. It's okay to take a picture in front of a super nice car. It's just not okay to post, look at my new car, when you drive something that has 3 wheels and you're in front of something that costs $150,000. Just be honest about what's going on. $1,000 a day, when I'm talking to a busy professional, I can have a conversation about $1,000 a day with certain people. But if I'm talking to somebody who's never made more than $30,000, talking to them about making $30,000 a month is pretty. It's not that I can't have the conversation. Certain people have that drive and that motivation, but most people can't see it. I try to take people to where they're at and then see a little bit farther. There's your comfort zone, and then there's your freak out zone. Okay, the comfort zone is basically where you feel comfortable. The freak out zone is about 10 levels past that. The outside your comfort zone is maybe $100, $200, $1,000 past where you're at. But you start saying $30,000 past where people are at. That's people's freak out zone. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't think. Elevator's too tall. So that is about the dream. Is just talking about what they do with some extra money, how they see that. Here's part 2. Part 2 is setting your goals. Setting your goals. The best way that I find, or setting your goals, are really setting some commitments. Like, what are you going to commit to? And I just have a list of some stuff from setting goals. Number 1, I want to sit down with, I want us to get together with my upline support team. That's the first thing I want to do when I'm setting goals. I want to get together with my upline support team. And let me specify that by saying, when you get together with the upline support team, make sure it's an upline support team that's active in the business, that's active, that's doing it right now. If somebody you're talking to did it 25 years ago and they're trying to teach you what to do now, they might not have the same vantage point. They might give you, it might be correct information 2 decades ago. But the techniques, a lot of it, is the same, but there are certain things that can speed things up that you just want to get together with somebody who's active. That's the best way to say it. The second thing in getting your goals put together is make a game plan each month. So what I do is I don't just set one goal. I set the goal of the month. And my goals all revolve around activity. I don't necessarily set level goals because level goals happen in time, especially with new people. Meaning level, like I need to get to this particular gem, star. Everybody has different ways of calling levels in different companies, and this is a generic call, so I'm trying to keep it generic. The game plan for the month, and then so the game plan for the month is activity of what we're going to do. The third is getting started contacting and presenting people immediately. That's the main thing that I want to teach in getting started right. If you don't learn how to properly contact people and invite people to see a presentation, what I found is it's very difficult to do anything else from there. And what I found is the faster people are willing to contact people and the faster people are willing to engage in that, process, usually the better off they are. Not in every case, but usually the better off they are. You want to get your business started quickly so they get their business started quickly so that duplicates through in your team. A friend of mine used to say you don't want to wait a week and then have your person wait 2 weeks and then their person wait 4 weeks, because typically people will put it off a little bit longer than you. They'll double it. So if you wait a week and they wait two weeks and the next person waits 4 weeks, he's like, all of a sudden you have a weak business. I was like, oh, wow, he's like W-E-A-K instead of W-E-E-K. So you don't want a weak business. You want, a moving business. The fourth thing in getting your goals ready and getting them moving and commitment is get paid and promoted ASAP. That's usually my initial objective. The reason why we're contacting people, the reason why we're presenting, is to get you paid and promoted to whatever that first level is immediately. Now, almost every company that I've ever seen has like a first level in the business in their particular company. So you just have to figure out what that is. If you're a little fuzzy on that, let's get together and talk, and we can figure that out. We can get that done. So the fifth thing is get plugged in. Get plugged into whatever your upline support team is doing. Understand where the events are, where the meetings are, what's going on. Make sure that happens. So that is step 2 of getting started right, setting your goals and making some commitments. So let's move on to step 3, writing your list. You want to be able to write your list. Your list is your business inventory. It's your database. Write down the name and phone number of everyone you know would be good. But getting started right, here's what I ask people to do, is write down a list of 10 people. I just want to contact 10 people immediately. Here's what I know. If we contact 10 people the right way and we can show you a pattern in the first 10 people and get those 10 people contacted, invited, and presented to. Now, if we contact 10, the goal isn't to contact 10. The goal isn't to invite 10. The goal is to present to 10 people. That might take 20 people. That might take 30 people. But we need to write down a list of 10 to initially start that process so you can see. And I want the most efficient, I want the best contact, the best invite, and the best way to present. That's what I try to do. And I try to do something that's duplicatable, but I also try to do something that's logical and makes sense in the marketplace. Because there are things that are duplicatable that are not logical and do not make sense in the marketplace. But again, you want to go with whatever your company is, your specific upline is suggesting to do. I have my method, and everybody has their method. Whatever's working, that's what you want to do. Start with your cell phone, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. Eventually, you can sit down and write a master list. When you're ready to get going, we kind of always say there's people who get started, then there's people who get started and they're a little more committed, then there's people who are all out crazy, I've got to get this done right now. They have a different level of commitment. I want to gauge somebody who's coming in, what kind of experience they've had in the past. If they've been in real estate for 10 years and they're used to making a list, they're used to contacting, they're used to inviting, they're used to presenting, they're used to bringing people in very quickly, then I can kind of have a different conversation a little bit with them, but I'm still going to start them out with 10 people. I still want to start them out with the basics so they can see how to do it with other people, because there'll be people who we bring on to their team. We'll have people that bring onto their team that won't necessarily be, the same rock star that they are. So again, you want to say, hey, how do you start somebody who's brand new, and how do I start somebody who's experienced? I start them the same way. I can just get back with them faster, because if they're willing to contact all 10 people the first day and we've got this first part done, then I can get back with them the next day and say, okay, let's get rolling here a little bit faster. The larger your list, the better your start. That's kind of the purpose. So that was step 3 of core number 1. Step 4 of core number 1 is contacting and inviting. And I just want to give out a couple warnings for contacting and inviting. What is the best way? You know, some people are like, well, I should just post on Facebook. And I'm going to say that's probably not the best way, because about 85 to 90% of everything you post on Facebook never gets seen by anyone. So just posting on Facebook probably isn't the best way to invite your people to anything. 71% of tweets are ignored. 88% of emails go unopened. But one of the best ways to invite somebody to see a presentation we found is text messaging. 98% of text messages are opened, and 96 of them are opened within 6 minutes. That's pretty fast. You know, people are like, well, what's the best way to contact these 10 people? The best way to contact them is probably by text message, and I'm also going to throw in there Facebook Instant Messenger. Facebook Instant Messenger, posting on your wall, hey, come look at this. Maybe not as good as an instant message that says, hey, I need a favor. And we'll talk about that here in a second. So here's some rules to contacting and inviting that I would like to share with you. These are rules to contacting and inviting, and most of them are what I would say doesn't work, or I've seen people try that's not good. Number 1, no mass texting or dialing. If you have a group of 10 people, I'm not going to group all 10 people together and send one mass message, hey, call me right away. Why? Because it looks like spam. And if it looks like spam and we're trying to duplicate something that works, obviously if half your friends are calling you saying, hey, I just got spam, they said you're doing it, like, that's not obviously the goal. The second kind of warning message is no mass Facebook messages. Don't create a group and tag every single person and be like, come to this meeting. I've found that doesn't work. It's not kind of the right way to do it. 3, don't post on other people's Facebook walls. You know, don't post, you know, your link, your, you know, product, your service on somebody else's wall, unless you got permission, but that's a whole other story. Don't tag other people in pictures they're not in. Don't post 100 times a day. That's not going to help you. Don't post negativity about other people's companies. Sometimes there's disruption in the marketplace. By posting negative stuff about other people's companies, or posting stuff negatively about companies, period, does not attract anything to you that you want. It might be attractive and you might get a lot of people looking at it, but it's not what you want. Don't inflate incomes. In fact, be very careful anytime you put out anything that involves money, because that's what the FTC is so concerned about. It's one of the main concerns the FTC has, the Federal Trade Commission has about these type of businesses, is trying to keep them legitimate, is so people aren't making false claims, whether that be your product or your service, your company. You just keep it honest. And here's the thing, sometimes you don't know because somebody else posted it and you're just taking it and sharing it. You have to use your brain a little bit and think through, did somebody really make $6 billion in 6 minutes? That really doesn't make sense to me, you know. And if you have questions about, hey, should I share this or not, send it to Bess and I, and we might be able to even look at it and say, there might be a better way to reword that. So don't inflate incomes. And last, and this is what I found works the best, okay? So this is what I found works the best. Post about success. You can post results. You can post results people have, and post people having fun, because people love to see people having fun. Hey, I'm over at my friend's house, and, you know, we just launched our business, and it's going great. And there's all these people in the background, and everybody's talking and excited. People want, like, well, what is that? You don't even have to talk the name of the company. You don't have to say the name of the product. You don't have to say anything, just that you're having fun, because people want to have fun. People want to have a good time. So all of a sudden people are interested because you're trying to drive attention. So let's get step 4, contacting. There are 2 mindset methods to contacting. Number 1 is sell every person you see. I have a good friend, and we'll just say, God bless her heart. Before I start telling you this story, it's God bless her heart. She does not understand, and it may be a he. I'm just using she in this example, so that way I'm disguising this person completely. does not understand that every conversation should not be about a product service that that company markets. If every word that you have coming out of your mouth is about, oh my gosh, you should try this, and there's this product, and there's this service, and there's this product, and you sound too much, I think would be the right word. You're just too much. There's too much going on there. You don't want to be that into whatever's going on. That's too much. It can't be every conversation you're having. What you want to do is this. You want to basically present to people in a way and have conversations in a way you say, do me a favor, I want to show you what's going on so you can help me find the ideal client. I want to educate. Watch this. I want to educate every single person. I want to educate every single person that I run into about what I do, but I don't want it to be the sole conversation that I'm having every single time. I hope that makes sense. Here's the best contacting method that I've ever found. Can you do me a favor? I would like to show you or tell you what I'm working on, maybe what I'm working on with a friend. I'd like to show you what I'm working on with a friend or a friend introduced me to. So if you come across the right person, you could refer them to me. That's the best method that I've ever found. And the reason being is, if you look at most stuff inside of direct sales, most of the wording is a pitch. The pitch being, I saw a business. I want to tell you about a business. I want to tell you about a business opportunity. I want to tell you about an opportunity. And all of these words are keywords that give away you're going to try to come hard sell somebody, which what that does is that raises the defense of the person you're going to talk to, and they start imagining and or assuming and or attacking back at you, and that's not helpful to what you're trying to get done. What you're trying to get done is take people from not knowing to knowing. Not knowing to knowing. That's what I try to do. I try to take people who don't know what I do to knowing what I do in the best possible light I can. Even if they're not interested, they listen because of how I go at it. And I get in front of more presentations. So what I found is the person who presents the most wins. That's the name of the game. The person who presents the most wins in almost every case I've seen. And I've got a couple good examples of that. So that moves on to step 5, which is the presentation itself. We can talk another time. Actually, next week is all about the presentation, so we'll get into depth about the presentation. But here's the easiest way. You can present using a website. You can present using a webinar. You can present using a live conference call. You can present using third-party call. You can present face-to-face. You can present two-on-one, meaning you bring a friend with you face-to-face. You can present at a home party. You can present at an open house. There's a lot of ways to present. But what I've found is the people who win present. And the people who don't win or are having trouble and aren't making money and aren't making progress don't present. So your objective is to present to as many people as possible. So here's a key thing. If what you're doing is not getting the presentation in front of the person, the whole presentation, my rule of thumb is if I can't show you everything, I show you nothing. That's pretty strong, right? That's what my mentor taught me. He's saying, if I can't show somebody everything, I will show them nothing. I'm not here to give a 30-second commercial. I'm here to present what I do. If you do not have time right now, I'm not wasting 30 seconds. I'm not giving you bits and pieces of information. I'm giving you everything so that way you can make a decision and or you can make a referral. People cannot make a decision or a referral on a 30-second commercial. People can only make a decision or a referral on knowing exactly what you do. Here's another thing about presentations. If you get good at the presentation, you'll get so good at this. You get so good at this, you could wake up in your sleep and give that presentation. I gave an example yesterday at a training that I did that the very first company that taught me this taught me that presentation so well that I have not been with that company, and I was adding it up. I think it's now been 17 years. 17 years, and I was able to give that presentation flawlessly, without any breaks in the presentation. It took me 10 minutes, and at the end, some people in the room were like, well, what company is that? I was like, that's pretty good that you guys have interest or are asking me questions about a presentation about a company I have no longer had any association with for 17 years. That tells me how powerful learning a presentation is. And anybody can learn a presentation. Anybody. You know, we duplicate lawyers. We duplicate high-end lawyers, you know, contract lawyers, intellectual property lawyers. We duplicate doctors. We duplicate neurosurgeons. You know there's 300,000 neurosurgeons in North America. 300,000. So if we can duplicate a neurosurgeon, I'm pretty sure we can duplicate somebody who gives a presentation. It's not that complicated. If you look at the DSA, now here's why I picked presentation as one of the most important things for me, is I looked at these statistics by the DSA, the Direct Sales Organization, and it said this: in the United States, this is 2016, in the United States, 72% of everyone who signed up, everyone who got in, these aren't customers, these aren't preferred customers, these are people who joined companies, paid money in most cases, through product or through the startup to get in. They got in. 72% got in on a one-on-one. 72%. That means 7 out of 10 people joined face-to-face, one-on-one, having a conversation with somebody. 21% joined at a party. So what that tells me is 2 out of every 10 people joined at a party. And just so you guys know, because certain companies, that's what they promote as parties, and I'm not against a party. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against a party. But let's define what a party is. The DSA says a party is 3 or more people. The average party is 3 people. I thought that was really interesting. 3 people. I mean, that really, it lowered the expectation a little bit, because sometimes we hear about these stories inside of direct sales where somebody decides to launch their business. We love to tell success stories, but sometimes the success story we tell is not the average story. So it's good to set the expectation, but it's also good to tell what the norm is, because I always heard these stories about people who launched their business, and, you know, Joe Smith, that's not a real guy, but Joe Smith in Arkansas got started, and, you know, he did his first open house, and he had 147 people show up, and he couldn't do it in his living room, and he couldn't do it in his kitchen, and he had it in his backyard with a tent and a microphone, and he signed up 170,000 people in his first day, and that's the story they would tell from stage. I mean, I'm exaggerating slightly, but sometimes I'm not really exaggerating to what gets told. And I thought, as a new person, that that was the standard of what was supposed to happen. And I'm like, I don't even know enough people to fill my kitchen table. My kitchen table sat 8, by the way, growing up. So I couldn't even fill my kitchen table. So I was like, man, I can't even do this. So you have to remember, whatever you're talking about, whatever you're doing, you want to make sure somebody else shakes their head and says, well, I can do that. 7% of people, it says other, which means 7% of people who got in network marketing have no idea how they got in network marketing. So 1 out of 10 just somehow got in. I have a theory, a sneaking suspicion, how that happened. I think that people were running for promotions and called their mom, called their brother, called their sister, called their goldfish, their golden retriever, and said, golden retriever, today your name is Bob, and you're a customer, because I need one more customer. And I guarantee, without laughing too much, there are parakeets, there are goldfish, and there are golden retrievers right now involved in network marketing at a certain level in the business, simply because people were trying to reach levels in the business. And I only say that jokingly because I've seen it done. In the world, I'll say, so let's break outside of the United States for a minute, because I know we have people in Canada here, and I know Bess has had people in South Africa and people in South America and people in Europe who have jumped on our calls, and really all over the world, islands that I've never heard of, because she was trying to tell me one time, I was like, I don't even know where that is. So in the world, 80% of people join on a one-on-one. 8 out of 10 people join on a one-on-one, 18% at a party, so 2 join at a party and 2% have no idea how they got in. Again, it's foreign goldfish, it's foreign parakeets, and it's foreign, maybe somebody signed up a lizard, I'm not really sure. But I'm just saying, that happens. I don't want to be too funny about it. So 6, follow-up. You want to follow up, and here's kind of an interesting thing that I was taught. You want to follow up within 24 hours of a presentation. And I asked yesterday, I said, what do you do at a follow-up? And a lot of people say, well, a follow-up, you do this, and a follow-up, you do this, and a follow-up, you do this, and a follow-up, you do this. Here's what I found out the follow-up is for. The follow-up is supposed to be a presentation again. And people are like, but they just saw it yesterday. Well, here's something funny about retaining information. If you saw the presentation yesterday, from yesterday till today, you're probably only going to retain The statistic says 50%, but because of television and because of Facebook and because of Twitter and because of Snapchat and because of Instagram and because of the 65 other things that people are doing, my guess is people, in talking to them, maybe retain about 10% of what you showed them. They know it's a business, they know there's a product, and they know there's a comp plan, but other than that, they don't remember much. So it's a really good idea at the follow-up to say, hey, when we follow up, let's get back together and say, you know what, before we do anything, before I ask you any questions, I just want to kind of review what I showed you, because I know life is so busy and so, entertaining, and there's so much stuff going on. Let me just review, basically what we're doing is the company that we're with, and here's the people, and here's, the time frame, and here's the need, and here's the products we offer, and here's the compensation, here's the timing. Now, the question I have for you about all that, now that we kind of, review exactly who we are and what we do, is, A, do you see referring, or B, yesterday you told me that you had some interest in the product or service. Which one is it, the product or the service? And on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with that? So now I know how to follow up. I'll just get you more information on that. You need more information on the product? Here's a video. You need more information on a service? Here's a video that basically describes that. You need more information on how the comp plan works? I have a video on that. Or I have third party. Or I have a product I can get you. Can I get you a sample of it? Can you try it? Give me a product testimonial. If you love it, send me a video on it. If you hate it, just delete my name from your phone. Just be like, click, I don't know who Jeff Campbell is. That's okay with me. Most people like the product. Especially when you get it for free, you're like, oh yeah, it was cool. So the greatest number of sales occurs on the 5th to the 7th follow-up. So watch this. If I contacted them by text message, that'd be 1. Then I got on the phone with them and presented to them. Then I followed up maybe with a face-to-face, 3-way call, something. Then I got them a video. And then when I talked to them again, I actually shared the program again with them, and was going on the scale of 1 to 10. And what I do is I wait for somebody to basically, like, if they cover everything and they're like, I'm kind of like an 8 out of 10. Then comes the question, well, what else is there that you need to know before you get started? Because you already told me you're interested. You told me you're an 8 out of 10, which basically means you're ready to go. So what else is there that we need to talk about before you get started? Does it happen to be a money thing? Do you get paid on this Friday? So do we need to do it now? Would it be something you want to do now, or you're just, the reason you're 8 out of 10 is because you can't get started till Friday, because that's when you get paid. Give people that out, and it's amazing. People will be like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it is. I always give people the out before they have to come out, because if people have to tell you they don't have the money, that doesn't go really well. But if you give them that, reason, and they're like, that's the reason, you're like, okay, no problem, cool. Because that happens to a lot of people. So 7 is check your progress. 7 in getting started right is check your progress. Game plan with a productive upline. Again, you want to meet with somebody who knows what they're doing, who's doing it. Review your goals, past activities, and you are in business for yourself but not by yourself. The 8th is follow the 10 core. And we just say, it's good to have a system, because if you don't know, system stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money. Save yourself some time, energy, and money. That's why we follow a system. And if this system isn't the system for you, that's okay. Just get a system and follow a system. Core number 2, be here a year from now. It's a 52-week commitment. And we like to talk a little bit about the compound effect. Is if you ate a piece of cake, German chocolate cake, if you don't like German, carrot cake, and that piece of cake was like this big, right? About the size of, well, my hands are bigger than some, but if it was the size of my hand, and I picked up a piece of German chocolate cake, today, am I going to gain a bunch of weight? No. But if I ate that piece of cake every single day for, let's say, 30 days, is it going to notice? Yes. If I ate it every day for 6 months, is it going to notice? It's big time going to notice. What is it going to look like 2 years from now? I will look like a German chocolate cake. I mean, I'm going to be, round and fluffy. And if that's your goal, German chocolate cake is probably a good place to start, if not carrot cake. But in business, if I go out and present to some people today, it might not look. But if I stay the course every single day doing this, what will happen is it'll compound over time. And that's basically how it works. Most people don't realize it's the stuff that you can't see happening, like the Chinese bamboo tree. The roots that are growing that you cannot see that make the biggest difference. Core 3 is personal development. Core number 3, personal development. You want to listen or watch daily. Listen to something good or watch something daily. There's so much good content, there's so much good information, and there's so much garbage. So you have to make a conscious choice to watch something good and skip the garbage. You know, Think and Grow Rich, Building Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn, anything by Tony Robbins, anything by Grant Cardone, anything by Gary Vee, anything by Susie Orman, anything by, gosh, there's one that I'm forgetting, John Maxwell. There's so many good ones. If you need a list of good ones, contact Bess and I. We can send you a list of good ones. But, you know, just try to skip the trash. And there's a lot of trash out there. You want to read. My mentor said 10 to 15 pages. I started reading a chapter. The reason I started reading a chapter a day is because I figure if most books are 15 to 20 chapters, I'm going to be able to read almost 2 books a month. And if I'm reading almost 2 books a month, I'm reading about 25 times what the average person does, which means I will get ahead 25 times faster. So if you want to move ahead faster, sometimes it's the work, but sometimes it's just improving you. If you improve yourself at 25 times the speed, then you'll actually have to work not as hard. Still working smart, just not as hard, because you'll get a whole lot more done with the stuff you do work on. So read, and then the third thing is associate. So core number 3, professional development, listen, read, and last, associate. Be around the people who are doing it. And that's why it's so important to get to events and be on calls and be part of mastermind groups and get together one-on-one and meet up with people who are in the industry who believe what you believe, who are going in the direction you're going in. I love what Arthur Schopenhauer said. He said, reading is the equivalent to thinking with someone else's head instead of your own. And I can't tell you how many times I needed to, you know, make a slice on the side and pull my stuff out because my stuff wasn't working. At least the thoughts I had, they were not getting me to where I wanted to go. I needed to use other people's. Core number 4 is Market Daily. And we're going to go into depth about Market Daily later, so I'm not even going to talk about this, so we can talk about it on the second half. Core number 5 is Present Daily. Core number 5 is Presenting Daily. As one of my mentors said, you should brush your teeth every day. It'd be a good idea to take a shower probably every day. It's a good idea to get dressed every day. It's a good idea to make your bed every day. It's probably a good idea to share your business every day too. If you eat every day, if you sleep every day, it's probably a good idea to share your business every day. Do you have to? No. But when we're talking about a 10-minute presentation, because a lot of this is, when we say present, some people think a presentation is hours and hours and hours long. No, a presentation is 10 to 15 minutes. My rule is if you're breaking 15 minutes, it's probably not that short presentation that you need to hear. You want a short, concise, specific presentation. So present daily. You know, if you had one agent doing 2 presentations a day, that's 10 a week, 40 a month. That's 480 presentations a year. What if you only got a 5% return? What if you only signed up 24 people? If you personally signed up 24 personals onto your team in the course of 1 year, what would that look like over 5 years? Would it look like retirement? Maybe. You have a pretty good shot. Would it look like you're getting close to, you know, some good levels in the business? I pretty much guarantee that. What if you had 10 agents doing 2 a day? 10 agents doing 2 a day, 5 days a week. So that's 10 agents doing 2 a day. That's 20 a day. That's 100 a week, 400 a month, 4,800. 4,800. That means at a 5% return, you'd have 240 people join your team in the course of a year. Almost 300 new people a year. That's 1,000 people in 4 years. If you put 1,000 people in your business in 4 years, what do you think your business is going to look like? If you got 100 people doing it and you got to 48,000 presentations in a year and you got a 5% return, you had 2,500 people coming on your team. I mean, then we're talking, right? We're talking about full time. So with that, what I'm going to do is I am going to mute myself and I'm going to turn this over to Bess. And Bess is actually going to do 6 through 10 of these 10 core. I appreciate her so much. It's been a blast to work directly with her. And I'm going to get myself out of the way and bring on Beth.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff. I just love working with you, too. We're alike in some ways and different in some ways. So thanks for all of that information. And Jeff, what we're doing this first half, our goal is that the first half, we cover the 10 core quickly. And Jeff just covered the first 5. I'm going to cover the next 5. Even though he went into number 1 so beautifully, because that is so important, and it actually encompasses the other ones really. So if you're following along on your map, he just did the first 5 of the 10 core. I'm doing the next 5. So number 6 of the 10 core is attend a weekly presentation. And if there isn't one in your area, then it's up to you to do one. And this is for new people, to bring new people to. So it's for your team to bring new people to. So it's all about your product and your business. The purpose of it is so that you can, and your team can, and their prospects can associate with like-minded people. So they get that social proof of all these people involved in it, and how they're doing, and all these people interested in it. And that makes it desirable and fun. And the second purpose is for education, to educate the new prospects, but also your team members deeper. And the third purpose is for duplication. So that's the way to do it. You let the team, you let the meeting do the work. You let the meeting do the talking for you. It's a tool that you bring your prospects to and tell your team to bring their prospects to, so that this can duplicate for them. And I think anybody can do that. Hey, I can bring somebody to a meeting, right? 4 rules for getting to meetings, and that is, number 1, always show up. So we suit up, we show up, we sit up front, not hang around in the back, and we bring people to these meetings. Always show up. Number 2, under this 6th core, attending with the presentation. Number 2 under that is always be consistent. So do this repeatedly. Oh, you hear this always, right? Number 3, always have a good attitude. And so you're cheerful, supportive, positive, and positive. You don't want to come in with a negative attitude or bring negativity from your day into this. You bring out the positive aspects. People need that. They've got enough of their own negativity going on, or challenges, I'll say, going on a lot of times. And so we look at the positive, and we expect the positive. And if there's 2 interpretations to take about an event or an occurrence, you choose the positive one. Expect the best of people. And edify people. Bring out the best in your fellow teammates, the speakers, your prospects, and you're introducing them to your fellow cross-line, upline, other team members there, and you're introducing. Bring out the positive, edify the people that you're bringing in. Keep a smile, having a good attitude. And number 4 of this list is be here a year from now. And so, or even 5 or 10 or 20 or 30. I know people that have 36 years in their network, their same network marketing business, of course, they're multimillionaires. So I'm sorry, that might not be accurate, but I do know people that have been 20, 30 years in the same network marketing, but start out just with a small goal of be here a year from now. So this weekly presentation could turn into a Facebook Live. You could hold it for your group, or you could actually broadcast it like Jeff has done a lot of times on his Facebook page. So that way it becomes a presentation for the public and whoever's watching. Now it's easy to attend these. It's easy to attend one, and it's easy not to. So it's your choice. Which one which easy are you gonna take? Now let's move on to the 7th of the 10 core commitments, and that is attend a weekly core training. That's what you guys are doing tonight. And that's why we wanted to do this, to make it easy for you, that you just plug in every week. When you do that, when you come here every week, you're taking care of your number 7 of the 10 core. You just attend. You put in your 90 minutes a week and come and get this until you know it so well that you can teach it yourself. And we have room for you to do that on here. You know, I'm taking over a little part of the teaching now, and maybe it will be you doing this one day. So pay attention, take notes, so that you learn this, so that you could teach it. And a teacher learns the best, right? Put this onto your calendar. put this into your reminders or whatever for your calendar. Let us be, and all of these meetings that I'm describing, be planned out ahead in your calendar. I have all mine lined out. You know, I know exactly what I'm doing every day, week, and month for this whole year. And guess what? The same 4 rules apply. The same 4. What were they just a minute ago? Always, oops, lost my paper. Anyway, they were always show up. Let's see. I want to be accurate and find this for you. Sorry. Always show up. Always be consistent. Always have a good attitude. And be here a year from now. So that applies to all of these events that I'm speaking about. And we're going to move on to number 8, 10 core commitment. That's attend a monthly team regional. Jeff just did one yesterday, a generic one. So it can be, if your team has one, attend that. And guess what? The 4 rules under that are always show up, always be consistent, always have a good attitude, and be there a year from now. The purpose of them, too, is to associate with like-minded people, to educate and duplicate. Number 9, core commitment, attend all conventions. And guess what? Always show up, always be consistent, always have a good attitude, and be there a year from now. Those conventions, they might be your company conventions, every event that your company comes on, get to that. However, they could be generic ones, such as my leadership network that Jeff runs. It's a generic leadership training. And he's putting one on October 19th to the 20th. Maybe he'll tell us a little bit about that later. It's called Breakthrough Team Building Summit. So it could be generic ones like Eric's or Jeff's, or there's a number of them out, or it could be your company ones. When you attend, dress for success. And did you know that when you bring a person to those, the average is that you make $1,000 per person that you bring to any of those, generic or company. So it pays you to really promote, not just announce these conventions. Repeat it every time that you talk to people. Every time you have a team call, mention it. You can have a contest for the most people that get there, or the person who gets their first plane ticket, hotel reservation, or buys their first ticket. You can have a prize for that. You can have a special meeting and event at that convention for the people who show up and say, hey, we're going to have this cool dinner together. We're going to have this guest speaker to go over some inside secret ways to even build your team faster. So you can reward people for getting there. It would be worth it financially, right? $1,000 average per person that you bring and that they bring. You know, okay, let's all bring 3 people to this meeting, or 5 people along with us. And when you get there, you can also meet important people in your company. You might even be able to find 3-way callers just in case your upline never can, or you do a challenge and you need a few of them to be able to call on. So that's number 9 of the core commitment, attend all conventions. We're going to move on now to number 10, and that is the MAP, the monthly massive action plan. And Jeff covered that a lot already in the getting started right part, didn't he? You plan the month before it begins, and you plan a game plan with your support team. You make one with your upline and with your team, above and below you. Now this could be around, and number 3, set monthly goals and put numbers to it. The best numbers to put to it are KPIs, or key performance indicators. And that, like Jeff just said, it involves the action versus the level or income level or money that you want to make. Let your game plan for that month involve your action. And the best action to take is presentations, as you just heard. When I lead people through challenges, 30, 60, or 90-day challenges, I have a really state-of-the-art method of doing this and had huge success with people jumping ranks and everything. We focus on the presentations. I don't care how many calls, or even how many recruits don't matter, because that could happen down the road. It might not even happen. It might happen for the person even after their challenge is done. The rewards are still coming back from the presentations they did. So that's what we count per day. You know, do you do 2 Ps a day, 5, or 10? 10 would be a full-out challenge. But we encourage everybody to do 2 at least a day, just to stay ahead of attrition. 5 if you want to grow faster, and 10 if you want to do a challenge for a certain period of time. So let your monthly action plan, your massive action plan for the month include numbers of presentations that you will do a day. If you're doing a challenge or a theme for that month, it could be, let's everybody sell this new product that came out. Let's everybody do presentations about this brand new shampoo that just came out, this really cool shampoo. Or let's all recruit 5 people this month. Or let's all bring 3 people to the convention. So some of your monthly action plan, I think, can reflect your yearly or even your 5 or 10-year plan for that month to contribute toward those bigger goals, like getting people to conventions. And I'll turn it over to Jeff here.
Awesome stuff. I actually have nothing to add. I actually took some notes. I loved the, suit up, show up, sit up. My friend would add shut up to that. I only say that because, certain people, they get there and they talk. I want to talk. I was one of those people, so I was the one. He's like, the 4th one is shut up when you're there. Listen to what's going on. Take notes. That's always a good thing. So here's what we want to do, guys. The first part of what we did was super important, of course. But this next part, what I will find is where the rubber really meets the road. We're going to talk about marketing. And for those of you who maybe you're like, well, I'm not good at marketing. I don't know about marketing, the sales, talking. You're in network marketing. So first of all, it has to do with work, and it has to do with marketing. It doesn't say company building. It doesn't say accounting. It doesn't say inventory, reporter. It says marketing. It's network marketing. We are in a marketing business. Therefore, it'd be really good to know as much as you can about marketing. Now, what are we marketing? Who are we marketing to? That's also important. So, number one, what I want you to know is there's 2 kinds of marketing, and a lot of people don't know this. There's push marketing and there's pull marketing. Push marketing is what we do in network marketing. We are taking a product and pushing it into the marketplace. Pull marketing is we basically are using an advertising strategy to pull people to us. Now, the reason we're using push marketing is because push marketing doesn't take money. Now, it can take money, but it doesn't take money to talk to my friend. It doesn't take money to talk to the person at the grocery store. It takes time, but it doesn't take money. Now, pull marketing almost always takes money. And I'll be real honest, pull marketing was really only available. It was really only available to certain people for years. Pull marketing is what the big companies did. Pull marketing was really only available to big companies up until the internet. And pull marketing is things like billboards. I looked at a billboard when we were in real estate. We ended up not doing it, thank goodness. But the billboard we were particularly looking at was $11,000 for the year. $11,000 for the year, and they were going to let us pay monthly $1,200 if we didn't want to come up with $11,000 all up front. So for those of you who think, well, network marketing is so expensive, try regular business, and you'll understand. Next, radio. I've done radio ads. I sold radio ads for a while. So, if you want to get into costly radio ads, a 10-second, a 15-second, a 30-second, a 1 minute, if you want to do your own broadcast, I've got friends who have radio shows. Now it's totally different. With the internet, totally different. A podcast anybody can do. But before, when there was just the 4 or 5 big ones, it was billboards, it was radio. Number 3, TV. I've done TV ads. It cost, I think it was $1,000 to produce a 30-second commercial. $1,000 for 30 seconds. So when people come to me and they're like, you just don't know how expensive this is to do, and I just can't fit it into my budget. $1,000 for a 30-second commercial. To film that 30-second commercial, we were there 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours of time, $1,000, 2 cameras, the crew, and then the editing afterwards was $1,000. For 30 seconds. And they also gave us a 15-second commercial, which was kind of cool. They're like, look, we also split it to 15 seconds. And I was like, what a deal. 4, magazines. Magazines, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of magazines. But it used to be these are the ways that you could do it. And then newspaper. the newspaper ads. I ran a couple newspaper ads just to kind of see what we got. It was, watch this, $800 a week. It was $800 a week to run the newspaper ad. Did I make money? Yes, I did. Did anyone else make money that tried this that I've known? No, they did not. Why? Because they didn't have the experience of sitting down and doing 1,000 one-on-ones to know what to do when they got on the phone with people. And that's one of the biggest problems. That's why we're going to talk about simple things you can do to market your business. Newspapers, signs. I've done signs. I've done bandit signs. I've done street signs. I've done flyers. I've done direct sales pieces to neighborhoods. I've done business cards, and all those are considered marketing or advertising, right? But the question is, what business are we in? What business are we in? We're in network marketing. Are we in the product business? Yes. Are we in the services business? Yes. Are we in the comp plan business? Yes. Are we in the car bonus business? Some of us. Are we in the trips? Are we in the bonuses? Yes. All of those encompasses, but we're really in network marketing. We're marketers. So what we do is we sell products and services, and we recruit and train people who sell products and services, right? That's what we do. So here's a good question. Do you focus on the product or service that you're marketing, or do you focus on the recruiting training side? That's a good question. I personally have been taught by people who focused, and it was more like an 80-20. They said, what we want to do is we want to teach you how to market the business and recruit people, and you will have, because of how we teach you to do that, you will always end up with customers along the way. One of my personal mentors had something like 150 some customers because he had recruited close to 1,000 people. He had more customers than the average person who focuses on customers ever has, but in the work he did, he ended up recruiting about 1,000 people. So he was a millionaire in the company. He had millionaires that he had recruited into his business, and he also had one of the largest customer bases. And I'm like, you know, I've heard a lot of theories, but that one's the best I've heard. So that's the one I want to learn, and that's the one I want to go with. Again and again and again, the people that I've seen who have done the best, who had the most customers, almost always without fail were the best recruiters. It just was a byproduct of recruiting. So that doesn't have to be your focus. That's just my focus. So I want to tell you where I'm coming from when I teach this stuff. So I focus 100% on recruiting because customers are always a byproduct of recruiting. And I like focusing on recruiting because if you focus on recruiting, it's almost like you have to focus on yourself and you have to raise the bar and the standard for you. I can learn everything I know about a product and I can get better about the product and sell more product, but that doesn't necessarily make me better. So there's internal and there's external. The internal marketing is marketing to people who already know what you do. Internal marketing is marketing to people you already know what you do. And the best thing that I've found is you have to create some kind of database. And there's all kinds of databases. This isn't a show, and our call isn't about databases. We don't sell databases. I'm not involved in anything related to databases that I'm part of to give you. I'm just saying it's a good idea to get one. I'll tell you a free one to start with. Google. If you get a Google email, you can go into Google's email and you can create a database inside of Google email. Now, I would suggest doing that from here on out. A couple reasons. First of all, it's free. I like that. Second of all, it's duplicatable because anybody can get a Gmail account, a Google account. I would make it work with your first and last name. So mine is work with Jeff Gamble. My girlfriend's is, work with Brandy Pember. I have friends, work with Maureen, work with Tom, work with Bob. I mean, whatever your name is. And here's what I found. Your name usually doesn't change, or it doesn't change that much. You might hyphenate last name. You might change the last name if you get married. But other than that, your name's pretty much your name, right? So that's standard. I don't focus on the company. I don't try to come up with a slick, fancy name, network marketing guru, make $1 million a week.com. Just a simple Gmail. And then what you could do is every time you talk to somebody, you want to add them to your database. Now, the reason this is a good idea is because how many people have a phone? Obviously, a lot of people have a phone because they're on their phone right now. You might be like, oh, of course I have a phone. You have a phone. Have you ever lost your phone? Have you ever broken your phone? Have you ever had a phone stolen? I've had all of those cases. And if all of your contacts happen to sit in your phone and your phone disappears, all your contacts are gone. But what I found is if you get a Gmail account that's free and you put all of your numbers into that Gmail account, all that I have to do is if I lost my phone today, I could go get another phone tomorrow. I could get a phone tonight at Walmart. I could turn it on. I could log in my Gmail, and all my contacts are back just like that, every single one of them. I learned this because I lost 2 phones, and I had filled my database and then lost it in my phone twice. So it's painful, especially when you're doing this for years. When you're doing this for years and you have to go redo it again. Now, Google isn't necessarily the best one to contact everybody, but it's a good place to keep everybody. So now all of my contacts sit in Google. They just come up every time I get a new phone. I just type in that email, and all my contacts are back in 1 second. There's no sitting at AT&T or Sprint or Verizon for hours trying to transfer stuff and figure out. I'm like, I don't even worry about it. I don't worry about it anymore because it's all in Google. And my theory was if Google gets wiped out, the rest of us have no worries because we're not going to be here either. You know, so that's just how I see it. Google's a big enough company that they're going to be around. So with that being said, that's where I keep everybody. That's my database. And that's how I contact and keep in touch with everybody that I've already showed it to. And there's really cool things you can do. You can put little markers on people, you know, with, you know, I've already showed it to this person, or you can type it into notes that way, presented to on this date. There's a little notes section when you add their name to your contacts. You can just type in, showed this person on this date. So now you know. You know where you met them, you know where it was. Because if you forget things, I forget things. If you forget people, I forget people. You can also take a picture of them and put their picture there. So now I have the picture, I have their name, I have their email, I have their phone number, and I have when and where I showed it to them. Wouldn't that be cool to call somebody back and like, hey, we haven't talked in a little while. Now, if you do this right over time, if your company ran a promotion, and a lot of companies run promotions, a trip to Hawaii, or they discount the fee of getting in, or they remove the fee of getting in, or they have some special package. And let's say I personally have talked to 500 people in the course of this last year. Is there any way that I could physically pick up the phone and talk to all 500 people in the course of a few days, still run my 2 businesses, and call those people and connect with all those people and get a hold of all those people to be able to tell them that information? There's no possible way. In fact, I'll just kind of give you, I've been doing this long enough where there's about 12,000 people in my database now. Now, that might seem like so many you can't even comprehend, but after 25 years, that number should be something like 50,000. The problem is that I didn't learn about this until about 10 years ago. I take that back. I learned about it 15, 16 years ago. I didn't start doing it till about 10 years ago. And now every time I get somebody that I want to market to, I put them in that database. So that's the first point is I don't care what database you use. I'm just giving you one, so if you don't have one, it's a free one anybody can use. The reason why is you want to be able to get in contact with everybody. Imagine being able to send one message in 1 minute and hit everybody. Not everybody can get back to you at once, but just having the power to do that is amazing. But the goal, then there's the external. The external marketing is I want to take people from not knowing to knowing. So I constantly want to reach out to people. And what I want to do is I want to put myself in, I want to market myself in a certain way. So here's a couple things. These are 4 things about marketing. Number 1, you want to know your avatar. You want to know who am I targeting. When it comes to marketing, who am I targeting? And you might say anybody. And I'll be real honest, I don't want anybody on my team. I don't want anybody in network marketing. I want specific people. I have an 80%, let's just say 80% of the people that I want on my team, 80% of the people that I want to work with have this list. They're 25 to 45. They have a job or some source of income. They have transportation and communication, meaning they have a cell phone and a car. Can you do it? Have you heard stories of people who got in network marketing who are homeless and built to $1 million? I've heard about them too, but that's not who I'm looking for. I don't need to wait 10 years for my one guy to show up. And by the way, that company might have sponsored, might have 800,000 people, and they get 400,000 people a year. They've been around 10 years. So they've recruited about 5 million people total, and one guy ever has done that. I'm not looking for the anomaly. I'm looking for the bell curve. Where is the bell curve highest? That's where I'm looking. So 25 to 45, has a job or income, has transportation, communication. I would love for them to be married. Now, the reason I love to talk to and meet with married people. Can single people go quickly? Yes. But what I found is a single person is usually looking out for themselves, and married people are looking out for who? They have somebody else to look out for. They have more reason to do it. I'm looking for somebody who has kids, meaning they not only have a direct reason, a spouse or significant other, but they also have kids to worry about. So they're thinking of the future. They're thinking of what? School and college and debt and marriage and just the expenses of life. They have more reasons. And typically people who have more reasons work harder. Not always, but typically. I would love for them to have a house, renting or buy, if they have a house. Why? Just more responsibility. They have more reason to do it. I found people who have houses tend to look at businesses a little bit more. Why? Does it mean they can't? No. It's just the way that it works out. Last, I'm looking for somebody who's dissatisfied or ambitious. Dissatisfied means they're making great money. They're making $25,000 to $75,000. They make good money, but they're dissatisfied. They're dissatisfied with their work situation. They're dissatisfied with the politics. They're dissatisfied with their pay. They're dissatisfied with their hours. They're dissatisfied with the BS that happens in corporate America where they screw up your check and you have to go back and fight for $6 and they're like, oh, it's just $6. It doesn't matter. Yeah, but it's your $6 and HR doesn't care. Maybe you've experienced this in corporate America. I've just seen it many times. So that's my list. That's my avatar. That's who I'm looking for. And here's the thing. Until you write down who you're looking for, you're kind of looking for anybody. When I realized this is who I'm looking for, man, it made things easier. Why? Because now I'm able to specifically target and go after this is who I'm looking for. Ambitious. Do they have 2 jobs? Do they have a job and do something on the side? Are they Goodwill shoppers? Do they flip stuff on eBay? Do they mow yards? Are they already doing something? I'm looking for busy, professional people. And professional meaning you're just hardworking. I mean, you could be a professional ditch digger for all I care, but you could be, one of the best people that I've ever trained came from construction. They weren't in sales. They weren't in marketing. They didn't know everybody. They didn't have a database. They didn't have any of that. They had ambition. They had work ethic. And they had a dream. That was a great, easy person to coach. Number 2, be confident. Be confident about what you're doing. How do you become confident about what you're doing? Study it. And I'm going to say this as nicely as possible, correctly as possible. Just because your company promotes something a certain way, go study it and make sure. That's all I'm saying. Because sometimes things are said from the front of the room that aren't necessarily accurate. And I'm raising both hands. I've been guilty of this because I've said stuff about certain things that I've been involved because I was excited or I heard it from somebody else and then I go research it and that wasn't. Go research. Be confident and know your product, service, industry. Know it. Know it. It's good. I mean, I even know who the competition is. I want to know who the competition is. I want to know what their pricing's like. And I want to be accurate at what I say. Don't just buy, watch this, don't just buy the advertising message that some people are giving you. Go look it up. 3, be clear. Be clear in your message. When I'm presenting, I've asked people to present to me, and they're like, they sort of, well, kind of, sort of, and then they laugh. And they're like, and our company, and and we've got these, products, and they're in those bottles, and you understand. And they get done, and I have no idea what they're talking about. Be clear. That's why we want to have a presentation that's clear, that's precise. We're not here to talk necessarily about the presentation, but be clear in your message. Number 4, be concise. That means be short and to the point. It's okay to tell a story, but if your story lasts 2 hours and 36 minutes and you asked for 15 minutes, you're not concise, you're not congruent, and you broke the rule of trust because you asked for one thing and did something completely different. So be concise. What you want to do is you want to market where the eyeballs are. Where are the eyeballs today? Where are people spending time? I'll just give you one. It used to be, 10 years ago, people used to spend 4.5 hours in front of their TV. 4.5 hours in front of their TV a day. A day. As opposed to the 36 seconds the average father spent on one-on-one conversation with his kids a day. 36 seconds was the average father's one-on-one conversation with his kids. Now, I've got friends that are much better than that, but that's an actual real statistic. Nelson did a study on it and found out that people were spending 4.5 hours in front of their TV, and fathers were spending 36 seconds one-on-one conversation with their kids. By the way, that probably isn't working out real good. I'm just making my own opinion there. Today, we spend 2.7 of those 4.5 hours in front of the internet, and 80% of that time on a platform called Facebook. People check their Facebook. Watch this. People check their Facebook first thing in the morning. People check their Facebook at lunch. People check their Facebook at night before they go to bed. There are people that are so crazy that will wake up, go to the bathroom, and they'll check their Facebook. I'm guilty. I've done that. So I can't say anything. Because I'm like, what time? You know, you're like, what time is it? I've got a message. I wonder what it says. Oh, wow. Oh, let me look. Oh, a cat video. Yay. And then I'm like, it's 4 in the morning. Go to bed. I'm just saying. I mean, you might have done that too. Go to where the eyeballs are. So if the eyeballs are on Facebook, here's what I know about marketing. You should probably be marketing on Facebook, but let's talk about marketing the right way. Could you do a presentation on Facebook? Yes. So I'm going to put out a challenge to people to number one, learn a presentation. If you don't have one, learn a presentation. Number two, I would suggest doing the presentation on Facebook Live for 30 days. For 30 days. And all I want you to do is say, here's the goal is not to sign people up. The goal is not to recruit anybody. The goal is not to sell a product. The goal is to get good at the presentation. That's it. Now, it's one of the scariest things ever for most people to do because they're like, oh my gosh, people are going to hear me. That is the point. People are going to see me. That is the point. People are going to know what I do. That is the point. But I don't feel comfortable because people will also see me. That is the point. They see you do this. Here's the thing. Can you have notes? Yes. Read it to them. You start out by saying this. Hey, Facebook, I need a favor. I want to tell you about what I'm doing, so if you ran into the right person, you could refer them to me. A lot of people think they know what I do. Think they know what I do. But what I realize is a lot of people do not know what I do. So I'm going to tell you exactly what I do. So if you run into the right person, you can refer them to me. Here's what I do. And I read it to them. At the end, I say, thank you so much for listening, because if you run into that person, I'd love for you to refer them to me. Thank you so much. Then hit stop, and boom, you're done. There's presentation 1. The next day, do the same thing. The next day, do the same thing. The next day, do the same thing. You're not trying to track how many people watched it. You're not trying to track if the color was right. You're not trying to track the time of day. You're just trying to track the number of presentations. Could you do it consistently for 30 days? Could you? That's marketing. Sending out the same message over and over and over again. Do you realize that there are companies like McDonald's, like Oscar Mayer Wieners, there's so many companies out there that if I sang their tune, you would know their tune. They sent the same message. People are like, you want me to do the same presentation? Have you seen the same commercial from the same company multiple times on multiple channels? For years. Years. Some of them are so recognizable, we could play that stuff in your sleep. You could wake up and sing the song. And here's the thing. You can sing some of the songs, and some of you have never bought their product. That's how ingrained the marketing is. Just like some of the presentations the companies I've been in, I've done the presentation, and I showed up to the event so many times and heard those presentations so many times, I'm not even in the company anymore, and I guarantee I could out-recruit people who are in their company. Still, not even being in. Why? Repetition. Repetition. You're going to get good at what you consistently do. If you consistently complain, you're going to be a great complainer. If you're consistently negative, you're going to be great being negative. You're going to get good at whatever you do. So you might as well pick something that's going to help you and get good at that. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Bess for any closing thoughts or comments. Let me unmute everybody.
Hey, everybody. Wasn't that powerful? Woo! Lots of ideas. Thanks, Jeff. 2 pages of notes here. How to market, but that one was especially powerful. When you combine Jeff's favor method, you know, hey, I would like to show you what I do in case you're in a cross-right person, you can refer them to me, with that 1 a day on Facebook for 30 days, watch what happens, you guys. It's that simple. And if you follow that little script that I just said with your 10-minute presentation on there, I'll just say real quick, that should include your story, your company's story, the timing, I'm sorry, the need for the product, the timing, and a brief example of the comp plan, like real quick, like how they can get their starter money back or make an extra $400 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever. So that would be just a quick example of all that. If you ever want help writing that 10-minute presentation, getting it real effective, I would recommend before you go on Facebook to make the best use of your time, contact Jeff or me, and we can help you to hone that and get that real sharp, because we do private work with people too. So really powerful. He just shared with you, I think, the 2 most powerful things that we could share as far as Market Daily. And that's that favor script, hey, do me a favor, and then doing your 10-minute presentation daily on Facebook. What would happen to your business if you did that? Pretty awesome. What would happen to your business if you just did it to 1 person a day privately? But if you do it on Facebook, look at the multiplication of that. So we want to open it right now for questions. Whoever has a question, would you, I guess we could leave everybody muted and just say, whoever has a question, would you unmute yourself and speak? You can unmute yourself by pressing *6 or by pressing the mute button on your phone. So if it's noisy, we may just want to mute generally and let people unmute themselves, but we'll see what happens here. Does anyone have a question about any of this? This is a lot of information. Anyone have a question they wrote down? And if not, while you're thinking or whatever, anyone have a takeaway? Something that you got from this that you will commit to yourself to put into action this week? Well,
I have a question.
hey, Lucy.
Why is it that people who are adults lose their dream? Like Jeff, you're talking about how if you say $4,000 a month to somebody, they may be like, "Oh my God, I could never do that." But a 20-year-old could go, "Oh yeah, let's bring it on, figure it out."
Well, I could answer that as a body-mind therapist.
Oh yeah, please do, Bess.
Because the older we get, the more that we have challenges to our dreams, and the more mortal we feel we are. When you're 20, you still feel like you're immortal. That you can do anything. You can do any crazy thing you wish. And you know, that's right, that's true. But we have disappointments, discouragements, and we start to buy into, oh, maybe I can't, maybe I won't, or this happened, so therefore I can't. That we start to lose self-esteem, we start to lose hope, we start to lose the dream that we had. I did a whole talk on that one time. Part of our job in coaching ourselves and our team is to reclaim that youthful feeling that we used to have, that we can conquer the world, that we can do any darn thing. Because it's true. We have to throw off the past discouragements and disappointments and beliefs that are sort of like starting to accumulate around us. You know, they're not true. False evidence appearing real, the fear. But remember how you felt when you were a teenager, even a little kid, you know, and the dreams that you had, and I'm going to do this, and when I grow up, I'm going to do this, and of course I can. Why can't I? So you're right. Yeah, the millennials, the young people, or even children, hang around them. Would be a suggestion how to throw off the old, recover your dream. Try to forget about, write down your discouragements and disappointment and burn them at a bonfire or fireplace. Just let them go up in smoke and commit to start fresh. Quick answer. Of course, if anybody has long-standing challenges rooted deeply that you want help getting rid of, that's my specialty as a body-mind therapist. So feel free to private message me for a free session complimentary session, and we can talk about that.
I think it's also a belief. I mean, Bess, you said it, best, but it's also what people get used to. I mean, if everyone you've ever been around has never made more than $15 an hour, and any check you've ever seen your entire life is not more than $500 or $600, when somebody comes in and says you can make $4,000 a month, it's like you just don't believe it because you've never seen it. It's like, me talking about running, an under 4-minute mile to somebody who's never been to the track. It just doesn't seem possible. Like, man, nobody I know could run, and catch the bus, let alone, run a 4-minute. Like, that doesn't even make sense. So it's just possibility-wise. People like, I can't see any of the people I know being able to accomplish that. So sometimes it's just having to see it and then just believe it. And this happened to me when, I had friends talking about real estate deals, and making 10, 15, 20, 25. And then I started hearing about people in different markets that were making 100 to 140, almost $200,000 a check. And I was just like, huh? And they're like, yeah, think about it. A margin on a $100,000 house versus the margin on an $800,000 house. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. I've seen an $8,000 check, so if the property was 10 times bigger, then the check would be 10 times bigger. That does make sense. And then all of a sudden I saw checks like that, and my belief level was raised, but I had to get in the environment of that, because if I was sitting basically at my first job at pizzas and people were telling me about closing houses and making that kind of money, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, so read success stories, you guys. Go to conventions, hear the people on stage, and hear this a lot to know that it's possible. Had a guy on Facebook the other day. I mentioned network marketing, and he said it's a scam. And I said, how so? And he said, well, network marketing is a scam. Nobody makes any money. So here's a guy who didn't believe anything could be done with it, let alone $4,000. And I just said, are you sure? Have you Googled the top 500 earners in network marketing, which mostly are millionaires? Have you Googled that? And then I began citing the people that I'd helped, and other people chimed in. They said, you can give them my name. I make, a few $1,000s a month with this. It's really changed our family. So hear stories, read success stories. And then a second suggestion I have is put yourself in that story. Run a little mind movie and imagine yourself with this. And like Jeff said, what would I do with an extra $1,000 a month, a week, or a day? So imagine yourself in that success story and see how that feels, how it sounds, how it tastes, how it smells. Where are you? Who are the people that you're with? Run this mind movie a minute more in the morning and a minute in the evening to create this new movie for yourself. Whatever we look at creates. Whatever your camera's pointed out is going to be the picture that it takes. Did that answer at all, Lucy?
Yeah, that did. I appreciate that. I have a hard time believing the non-tangible. I think because I'm a very hands-on person, but it makes sense. So yeah.
Ask somebody. Ask your sponsor, who I know is a very multi-millionaire. Ask him. Did you ever have this?
Yeah.
Did you ever have this? Did you ever think that, well, I'll never make 4,000 at this? Ask him how he took those steps and overcame that, what he did to break out of his comfort zone, to change his paradigm. And Sandra, his wife. So thank you for that great question. I'd like to hear how that goes for you. We're all stretching, right? We're all at the ceiling, or else we're all bumping up against the ceiling of the next level, or else we'd already be at the next level. So we're all bumping up against the ceiling of what we can conceive for ourselves, achieve for ourselves. We're all breaking our own limits every day, hopefully, if we're growing. So that's normal that you are bumping up against that ceiling. That is very normal. Just keep going.
Well, thank you, Bess and Jeff.
Sure. The way to do that for ask questions like that. Thank you. Anybody else have a question, large or small? Or a takeaway? Well, I'd like to ask also, does anyone have a success, large or small, that you can share with us? Anyone got a new customer lately?
I'm actually gonna have one this coming week. And the funny part is he's my uncle, and we had a fight over it. And then he texted me. Well, I bought the products that he was interested in, and we actually saw each other, and I gave him as a gift when he was in town. And then he texted me on Friday and said, "Hey, Lucy, you still with blah 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 company? I would like to order." And I'm like, "Sure." I didn't say that to him, but I was like, "Sure." And I was like, "Well, probably be better, easier for us if you became a customer. It could be a non-preferred, whatever, and then you can just order it yourself." So we're going to connect this week, and I'm going to sign him up.
Congratulations for turning that around. Thank you. Anybody else have a success? A new distributor that you signed up? Okay. Can anybody say for me the favor script? Can you say that by heart? Hey, can you do me a favor? I'd like to show you what I'm doing in case you run across the right person. You could refer them to me. Well, I challenge you to learn that so that you can say it, or that you can text it or Facebook message it. I have a challenge for people on this call or listening to the replay, that the next time we meet, can you memorize the 10 core? The 10 core, so that you could say it on this show. And remember that it's start right, be here a year from now, professional development, market daily, present daily, attend a weekly presentation, weekly core training, a monthly regional, and all conventions, and the massive action plan. I want to challenge you to see how many of those you could remember by heart, and let us know by the next call. You all can still think of a question or takeaway to share if you like. In the meantime, I'm going to let you know that our third 10 core commitment is personal development daily. And Jeff and I have provided a way for you to do that as well. Just hop on our Facebook Live shows every noon Eastern time for the MLM Lunchtime Leadership shows. These are just a half hour long, and they teach you the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. It's how to be a better person, period, so that you can lead better, so that you can attract people, helps you to be a better person, mate, father, mother, employee if you have a job. It's how to do everything better. It's the ethics and the values that you love yourself for, developing these within yourself, but also how to lead your team. There's a lot of cool secrets. There's pitfalls to look out for. Just today I recommended this to someone that he sent his son, who's in network marketing, because his son is 21 years old, and making about $10,000 a month. I think only about a year into network marketing. He's having huge success, and his dad says, "Watch out! One wrong decision can fall your empire." So I suggested that he send him to our show, because that will help him to prevent the pitfalls, to look ahead and look out for the pitfalls. So personal growth with us, lunchtime. Just go to the Facebook group, MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. And every day at noon, noon Eastern time, you can click on a link that's there and watch it. You can find the replays there, and a free book to follow along, and a really great community. Almost 300 people coming up on. Anything else, Jeff?
so I think that is a wrap, guys. We always like to hear from you. What was your greatest takeaway? What you liked about what we're doing? We're always trying to improve it. So, getting that feedback helps us concentrate and focus on the things that are helping people. As much as, I love to hear myself talk, which isn't the point of this at all, is to kind of help you guys figure this out. So anything that, you can provide to us as feedback, that's why it's so helpful. It's not just, hey, we just want to hear from you. It's we want to hear from you so we can improve this for everybody. So thank you guys so much for being on. We appreciate, you giving us the ability to share some of this information with you, and we look forward to obviously next time and this next week of the MLM lunchtime leadership shows. We're going to be wrapping up 15 through, I believe, 20, and then we're also going to hit the 21st one on the last day. So we'll be wrapping up the 21 Laws of Leadership, and just look forward to that series for our first full month. We've had a great first run, and looking for more. So with that, turn it over to Bess.
Do we want to tell them about your Breakthrough Team Building Summit, October 19th and 20th? That's a Friday and Saturday, because I'll be there, and we're going to be presenting a lot of good speakers. It's going to be $197 at the door, but right now, through August 18th, it's only $49.
Correct. So for those of you who are looking to get ahead, I always say, follow what your company's doing, follow your company, but there are specific outside events that will help. So we are running a team building event, and the team building event is just that, teaching people how to build a team. What are the basics? What are the advanced skills? We're going to talk about shopping applications. We're going to talk about building depth. We're going to talk about, going wide, some of the database stuff that we just talked about, personalities. How to go into the personalities, the different personalities that are involved in network marketing, and how to deal with that on a team, how to be able to attract those people that you want onto your team. So we're going to be going through all that at the team building event. That's here in Indianapolis. The link to this, I'm going to go ahead and put in the MLM Millionaire Club, the link for the $49 until August 18th, and that incrementally goes up until, obviously, the day at the door. There will be a notebook printed with some of the stuff we're going to be doing with the John C. Maxwell training inside that event. I will tell you the Maxwell stuff by itself, value-wise, is worth more than the entire ticket itself, but then you also are going to have, Bess. You're also going to have a good friend of mine, James. James right now has a little over 25,000 customers on his team, so he has built a very significant team, over 10,000 people, over 25,000. It might be closer to 30,000 customers, because 25 was the last time I asked him, over maybe 2 years ago. But he has also been willing to come up to Indianapolis to join us on that. So it's going to be a good time. Friday, all Saturday, arranged schedule. It's going to be close to the airport. So we'll have the location and all the details up tomorrow. So appreciate everybody for jumping on. Bess, is there anything else?
Oh, I want to meet y'all there. That's the best. Okay. Thanks, Jeff, for everything for tonight. Thank you all for being here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.